Well, good afternoon, good morning, I guess it is, still 10 minutes. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our home field, City Hall. That's funny, you're supposed to laugh. That's good, thank you. And as the leadoff hitter for today's announcement, let me say this year's All-Star Game is going to be a real All-Star Week in New York, with a full roster of events on and off the field, which we'll hear about in a few minutes. There will be big league thrills for everyone in the days leading up to the Midsummer Classic at Citi Field on July 16th. That is a Tuesday, if I remember. Is that correct? With a full roster of events, this is just going to be something really wonderful for New York. There'll be activities for fans of all ages and for chances for visitors to experience all of the magic of New York's legendary baseball history. There'll also be opportunities for New Yorkers to thank Major League Baseball for its generosity in giving back to our community, including for Hurricane Sandy relief. A range of city officials and agencies are working with the Mets and Major League Baseball to put All-Star Week in a league of its own. And they include our Office of Citywide Events, the Department of Parks and Recreation, the Department of Transportation, the NYPD, the FDNY, and our Marketing and Tourism Agency, NYC and Company. Are they all going to help make it a great time? You gotta believe. We're also going, that's good, thank you, I like those reactions. We also know that the All-Star Game and the events surrounding it are going to be an economic grand slam for our city. We expect them to have something like a $191.5 million impact on our economy. More than 176,000 participants, reporters, and fans will flock to our city. The game will also put New York City in front of a worldwide television and internet audience in excess of 30 million viewers, and that's the kind of positive media exposure money just can't buy. So we really are looking forward to teaming up with the Mets and Major League Baseball to make this an all-star week to remember. So now let me throw things over to the broadcast voices of the New York Mets, starting with Gary Cohen. Gary?
Thank you, Mayor Bloomberg. I'm here with Howie Rose, who's the radio voice of the Mets on WFAN. And as everybody knows, the Mets will be hosting the 84th Midsummer Classic on Tuesday, July 16th. Preceding the game, there will be 5 days of all-star festivities for the fans here in New York. Before we introduce our panel of guests here, we have a little video we'd like to show you to give you a sense of what to expect.
Major League Baseball and the New York Mets proudly joined together for the 2013 All-Star Summer.
The Mets look forward to hosting the All-Star Game here at Citi Field.
Baseball fans from across the world will celebrate the rich baseball culture of New York City.
The Mets have won the World Series. The dream has come true.
For a glimpse of all that All-Star has to offer, we'll go to Kansas City, Missouri for All-Star Summer 2012.
2, 1, cut that ribbon!
All-Star Week got a rousing start to the festivities as Royals legend and Hall of Famer George Brett gave a hand in opening Major League Baseball All-Star Fan Fest. More than 119,000 tickets were distributed for the 5-day event at the Kansas City Convention Center.
It's our hope that any casual baseball fan gets to take away a singular baseball all-star experience that you hope you carry for generations.
If you're a fan of baseball and you're 8 years old, or if you're a fan of baseball and you're 80 years old, there's something here for you. I mean, it's really kind of a neat place.
Major League Baseball made its all-star presence felt beyond the stadium and convention center as it remained dedicated to community service, and donations were made to local and national charities.
What's up, my man?
And everyone from all-stars to the commissioner gave a helping hand to build a lasting all-star legacy. While houses were built outside of Kauffman Stadium, the newly remodeled ballpark welcomed fans inside for Taco Bell All-Star Sunday. The Sirius XM All-Star Futures game started the fireworks for the on-field All-Star excitement as Team USA took on the World Team.
The Aussie flip, that's how you start off an All-Star. Nick Castellanos, a 3-run shot.
it's 15-5.
The Taco Bell All-Star Legends and Celebrity Softball game had its own hero.
Listen to the reception to our military personnel. Oh, nobody's getting that one. Kinsey, our wounded warrior, with a home run and fireworks to boot.
Let's hear it one more time for the MVP of the Celebrity Softball game.
On Monday, Gatorade All-Star Workout Day featured the biggest and brightest stars in the Home Run Derby. This annual power hitting display is the must-see event of All-Star Week. All-Star Tuesday began with more royalty as Major League Baseball rolled out the red carpet show presented by Chevrolet.
Go Royals!
More than 50,000 fans lined the streets of Kansas City to see the world's greatest All-Star players ride the red carpet to Kauffman Stadium.
Get ready for baseball as we celebrate the 83rd Major League Baseball All-Star Game here in the heartland of America.
And with World Series home field advantage still the crown jewel, it didn't take long for the fireworks to erupt.
That's a fly ball. And Sandoval ends up at third base. He's just made it 4-0.
And the American League had no answers for the senior circuit or the knuckleball.
He gets a strikeout. And the National League has just secured home field advantage in this upcoming World Series.
Great events both on and off the field made All-Star 2012 a huge success. And All-Star Summer 2013 promises to be an equally spectacular and truly unique experience in New York City.
I really am looking forward to it. Coming to Citi Field, the National League has this wonderful, wonderful tradition. And I know the Mets and the Wilpon family are so excited about this.
I think it's great for New York City. I think it's less about the organization. I think it's more about our fans. And the fans coming out and seeing it, getting to go to Fan Fest, coming to the ball game, whether it be for the Futures game and seeing the Home Run Derby, and then obviously the game, which means something, is terrific.
There's a great level of excitement everywhere. Next year, we're going to Big Apple, and it should be spectacular.
Well, based on that video, it looks like we're in for a real special treat this summer. I'd like to introduce our participants now one by one. You've already met the Mayor of New York City, the Honorable Michael Bloomberg, the Executive Vice President of Business for Major League Baseball, Mr. Tim Brosnan, former All-Star and Major League Baseball All-Star Ambassador. He helped the Mets win the National League pennant in 2000, knows all about New York because he still makes his home here, Edgardo Alfonso. Former four-time All-Star and Major League Baseball All-Star Ambassador. He's fourth on the all-time saves list with 421, and he's New York as Broadway and Herald Square, John Franco. Former Major Leaguer and Major League Baseball All-Star Ambassador, who, of course, will be long remembered for his memorable at-bat in Game 6 of the 1986 World Series when he hit a ground ball that went through Bill Buckner's legs, but if you saw him play, you know he was much, much more than that. Please welcome Mookie Wilson. They were mooing, by the way. Six-time All-Star third baseman and T-Mobile All-Star Fan Fest spokesperson. He's the fourth captain in the history of the New York Mets, and one of these Octobers, we hope to have him outside here on the steps of City Hall, along with his teammates, David Wright. I'd also like to recognize Mets executives who are all seated here in the front row. The Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of the New York Mets, Mr. Fred Wilpon. The President of the New York Mets, Mr. Saul Katz. And the Chief Operating Officer of the New York Mets, Jeff Wilpon. First now, please welcome Tim Brosnan.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for being here. And on behalf of the 30 Major League Baseball clubs and Commissioner Seelig, we just want to tell you how much of an honor and a pleasure it is to officially announce All-Star Summer here in New York City. There's a lot of people responsible for bringing this event here, planning this event, executing this event, too many to mention, but Mayor Bloomberg, Patty Harris, all the staffs here at the Mayor's Office, Parks Department, NYPD, we could not have found a more gracious host And our only regret is this is the last All-Star game that we'll be planning with the Bloomberg administration. It really is a joy to work with your administration, Mr. Mayor. And of course, the game doesn't get here unless the host club gets it here. And New York City and its environs owe a great debt of gratitude to the Mets front office, who've already been introduced, Fred, Saul, and Jeff, for doing the hard spade work that takes to get an All-Star game and to be the host of an All-Star game. So thank you to the Mets and to their staff. I've mentioned this before. We bring an All-Star game to a city, and all that gets to happen to the host club is they get to take on a second full-time job. So we want to thank the Mets and their staff in advance for all the hard work they've done and all the hard work that we know they're going to do. And then I know these guys have been introduced, but the All-Star Game is all about the greatest players in the world. And you folks in New York happen to be currently blessed with one of the greatest players and one of the greatest guys, the captain, David Wright. We're really delighted that he's agreed to be our ambassador. And, of course, Edgardo, Mookie, and Johnny, any Met fan knows these guys are the cream of the crop, and again, just going to make the experience that much better. We thank you. Now, there's plenty of ways to have an all-star experience in the ballpark, but we've worked really hard to make sure that everyone in New York and the surrounding towns and communities have an opportunity outside the park to have an all-star experience. I think you saw the videotape. Anybody who wants a piece of an all-star memory should be able to get one. And without going into all of those events, because we'll release them as time goes on, the biggest opportunity is the T-Mobile All-Star Fan Fest, which will be at the Javits Center from July 12th to the 16th. We like to say there's something for everyone, from the smallest toddler baseball fan to the most seasoned veteran. Again, anyone who wants an all-star memory, there will be one there for fans of all ages. And I have to thank T-Mobile. This is their first time as the sponsor of this. When these folks do this, they make these events more spectacular and more affordable. So Meredith Starkey from T-Mobile, who's here, thank you very much. And if T-Mobile is the biggest opportunity, the Chevrolet Red Carpet Show is the glitziest opportunity. And think of shots of players arriving on buses underground with headphones on, walking to the clubhouses, and then think the exact opposite. You will have the greatest players in the world gathered here for the All-Star Game, parading, congressing down 42nd Street. It is a spectacular show. It's free. David and I were just talking about the last time we were in New York. The estimates were that 1.5 million people came out to see the show. It really is spectacular, and we're looking forward to hosting the greatest players in the world parading down 42nd on All-Star Game Day. And again, many other free events will be hosted around the city, and you will hear more about them. If you want to check them out, you go to allstargame.com and follow them as we announce them. So how do the players get to the All-Star Game other than on the beautiful Chevrolet trucks that they're going to go down the 42nd Street on? You vote. And baseball hosts the largest ballot in sports in the world. Last year we recorded over 40 million votes. This year we expect to top that because all you New York fans are going to get out and make sure that David is on the All-Star team. We have to thank freecreditreport.com for their work online, and the Firestone folks who host the ballot in the city. Phil Pacey from Firestone's here with us today. Thank you very much, Phil. And remember, vote early and often for David. He needs to be there. Johnny was talking about a write-in. I don't know if we've done write-ins for former players, but we're going to work on it with Johnny. We know how much everybody here in New York loves Johnny Franco. And then finally, and perhaps most importantly, Major League Baseball and all its clubs, each and every club and ownership group understands the enormous responsibility and privilege that we have to give back to the communities that support us. So as the mayor mentioned, Major League Baseball, the Mets, we're proud to announce that over $4 million in monies coming from the All-Star event will go to fund local and national charities, with a great majority of that money staying here in the New York City area. We're going to support recovery efforts from Sandy, improve the lives of local veterans, improve the lives of some of the underserved youth here in New York, and support national cancer research. Just some of the projects. And again, we have a release on all of the projects that will be part of the All-Star Game. So again, that's a brief summary. We can't be more thrilled, more excited, don't have a better group to work with than this mayor's office and this franchise, and we're looking to host the best All-Star summer ever. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tim. Now, our next speakers have all played on some of the most memorable teams in Mets franchise history, and each one of them is beloved by Mets fans. They're now serving as spokespeople for the All-Star summer activities. So we're going to start a question and answer here, and I'm going to begin with Edgardo Alfonso. And as I mentioned, Fonzie has settled here in New York even after his playing days, so you know he's a New Yorker through and through now. So what do you think it means for New York City to host such a prestigious event as this All-Star Game?
Good morning, everyone. Yeah, I think so. I think it's great. I mean, great for the New Yorkers. I think they're going to have the opportunity to see this great event. I have the opportunity to participate in one. It was great, and then I think it's gonna a lot of change for the people, for the fans, for the especially the kids. They're gonna have this opportunity to be guys like Davey. Hopefully, started doing good. But I think it's gonna be great. I mean, there's a blessing for New York and all those people who put this together, the Wilpon family, to bring this game. Do everything is possible to bring this game to New York, and then I think it's going to be so exciting. I'm excited to try to be there.
For John Franco, John, nobody's more associated with New York and the Mets than you are, but you've never gotten to play in an All-Star game in New York. But what are your favorite memories of playing in All-Star games?
Just being able to pitch in one. I mean, not giving up a home run, that's for sure. But just the opportunity to be there, along with my other teammates in New York, guys who made the All-Stars, and other players from around the league, getting to know them. But having an opportunity to be here in New York and being part of this All-Star is going to be fabulous, not only for the players who are going to come here, but only for the city also, because I think it's going to be something special. New York knows how to throw a party, and this is going to be something special. And, I already voted for David 15 times. So, but I think it's a great opportunity for not only for Major League Baseball to be here, and finally here, so I get to see one here, other than a couple of years ago was at Yankee Stadium. But now Mets are hosting it, and I'm glad to be part of it, and glad to be helping out.
Now, Mookie, you're very familiar with the limelight here, of course, having been part of the 1986 world champion Mets, so you know what all the attention is about firsthand. What, then, are you looking most forward to about these All-Star festivities?
Well, first of all, I've never been fortunate enough, I've never been good enough to play into an All-Star game. But the All-Star game has always been special, and I've always, enjoyed the festivities that goes along with it. And to be a part of it this year, to be an ambassador, to represent what the All-Star Game is all about, I'm extremely excited about it. I know what happens when great things happen here in the city. It's an outstanding, event, and the city has never changed anything they've ever done here. I'm not a native New Yorker, but I feel as if I am. I've been here all my life, adult life, and I've always enjoyed it. And I can't wait to get this All-Star, game started, because it's going to be a great, great event.
David, you've played in All-Star games. You've participated in the Home Run Derby. You've been in the WBC, and you're Captain America. So what would it be like to play in an All-Star game in front of your hometown fans?
Well, baseball is in the blood of New Yorkers. If I had a vote, I'd have the All-Star game here every year. I think that New York deserves that. New York has the most passionate, the greatest fans, and I've been very lucky. I've been very fortunate. I've been in 6 All-Star games, and I'd gladly trade all 6 of those in to participate in this year's. I think getting a little taste of what an All-Star game is like in New York, playing in the Bronx a few years ago, it's revved up. It's above and beyond, and it's no offense to other All-Star game hosts, but there's nothing that's comparable to playing in an All-Star game in New York. And hopefully I'm lucky and fortunate enough to participate in this one, but it's going to be a great show. And like Johnny said, New York knows how to throw a party, and this is going to be no exception.
Now, we also have some questions for both Tim and the mayor. Tim, you've been around this event for a long time. You know all of the ins and outs. Which of the events do you anticipate the fans are going to like the most?
Well, the game itself is obviously the jewel, and they're playing for home field advantage. So you actually have your parochial rooting hat on for the game. But particularly New York City, Dave and I were talking about it. I think the red carpet show, when the stars are out and it's like arriving for the Oscars, it's a huge community event, and it's made bigger by coming down one of the most famous streets in the world. And the fact of the matter is, anyone who wants to participate can. And so for us, for Major League Baseball, it's the events that everybody can touch that are equally as important as the events in the ballpark.
Mayor, we've heard what the All-Star Game means to the players and what it means to Major League Baseball. What does bringing the All-Star Game here mean to New York City?
Well, I think it's just a validation that New York City really has become the sports capital of America. I mean, if you think about what's happened in the last 10 years, we have a new baseball stadium in Queens. We have a new baseball stadium in the Bronx. We have a new basketball hockey facility in Brooklyn. We have a new football stadium just across the river in New Jersey. Hopefully, we're getting close to announcing a new soccer stadium here in the Flushing Meadow Park. We've got the All-Star Game this year. We've got the Super Bowl coming next year. The 2015 NBA All-Star Game is going to be at either Madison Square Garden or Barclays. The NCAA Basketball Championship is going to, regional finals are going to be at MSG next year. The NFL and NBA drafts in Manhattan, and annual events, which we obviously have every year, like the U.S. Open and the Marathon. And then this year, we're going to have a World Series between the Mets and the Yankees, which will go 7 games and be decided at the end of 9 innings, and New York will be the winner. If that isn't enough, I don't know any other city that can come close with that list of accomplishments. We really are the sports capital of America.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to invite you now to come back up here and conduct a brief Q&A, and we'd ask that all of you please keep your questions to today's announcement. Thank you.
Be happy to take some on-topic questions if anybody has any, and if you don't, I'd be shocked. Not one person raising their hand. Way in the back, sir.
You mentioned accurately that New York has become the new sports capital of America. With events of this magnitude, any concerns about just security, safety for people coming?
No, we have the best police department in the world. We know what to do. I can't guarantee with 1,000% accuracy that everybody's going to be safe. We all know we live in a complex, difficult, dangerous world. But if I were going to go to a major event, I would rather go to a major event in New York City, knowing that we have the NYPD providing security here. And I and my daughters will be at most of these events.
And who's going to win Game 7 between the Mets and
New York. Yes, sir.
Can I just follow up? Is there a price tag that much this is going to cost, and do you have a price as to, in anticipation how much money you're going to bring in?
Well, the only real expenses the city has, I suppose, that are incremental is providing police protection. But, you know, we have 55,000 people that work in our police department. Our budget is $8.5 billion a year to keep New York safe. And one more or one less event really doesn't, in the grand scheme of things, it wouldn't be noticeable. On the other hand, on the income side, 2 things. One, you get people coming here, they buy things in our stores, they eat in our restaurants, they stay in our hotels, which are pretty much full anyways, but What really happens is they go back home and they tell people that New York is fun, New York is safe, New York is affordable, New York is friendly. It's that kind of free publicity we can't get anyplace else. You can run ads, but when your neighbor says, hey, I was in New York, and it's not like the late night comedians used to say, I felt great. I walked around. I was in Central Park. I walked out all these ethnic neighborhoods in all 5 boroughs where my ancestors came from. That's the sort of stuff you can't get by buying ads, and that is the real benefit of having each one of these major events here. Yes, sir.
With all the events, all the athletic events taking part in New York over the years, do you ever have any regrets about getting involved in business and politics instead of sport?
Well, there's been great demand from most of these sports teams for me to be a player, but, I don't want to embarrass the young kids, so I'll just sit there. To me, when I go and watch, I love high-scoring games. No offense to the pitchers that try to keep the score down, but I like to see people hit the ball. I like to see high-scoring football games, basketball games, hockey games, and I love to have 2 or 3 boxes of popcorn and a couple of beers. Do it all the time and actually love it. Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor, Rich Lamb, WCBS. Could we ask the players each, could you describe what makes New York fans special? How would you describe them? How would you characterize them? What are they like compared or contrasted with other fans?
That's easy for me.
Could you hold the mics?
Yeah.
That's easy for me. I think the passion, the electricity, the energy is different than when you go on the road and play some of these other teams. I think that you just feel a different vibe coming from the fans playing at home than you do playing on the road.
Hey, they're honest. They're honest with you. I've been honest a couple of times, so. But it's great. I mean, I echoed what David said. They're passionate. They know the game. They love the game. They love their teams. And to have something like this here, they're going to love it even more.
There's not much to add to it. Like I said, I'm not a New Yorker, but I've become part of the people's families here. And that is one of the most rewarding things. I mean, I'm 57 years old right now, and people still think I played. Why didn't I play last night? So, and that's just a great feeling, and nowhere else can you get that.
Yeah, pretty much, Larry. They say the fans here in New York, they really, they push you and they let you know when you do bad or good, And one thing is, and I think like what they say is gonna be big for the fans, for the people here to have this event and the All-Star game. I think it's great.
Let me add one other thing that has always struck me about New York fans at all of these different sporting events. A lot of people will wear the uniform of their favorite team, the visiting team in many cases, whether it's at Citi Field or at Yankee Stadium or the Garden or the Arena. And fans here love sports and they respect each other. And you can go to other cities where if you wore the uniform of the visiting team, I wouldn't say your life's in danger, but nobody's nice to you, and they can really be nasty to you. And that just doesn't happen. New York are sports fans. They love a good game. They root for their own teams, but there's sort of a respect for people who root for other teams. They like the fact that they're fans. And I think that's different than any place else I've been. Yes, sir.
David, just having been in 6 All-Star games, can you just talk about what it means to be on the ballot and just the overall magnitude of 40 million ballots and baseball's ballot program?
It's special. I have every single ballot. Even the games that I was unfortunate enough to play in. And you look on that ballot and you see your name, and it's just an incredible feeling. Growing up as a kid, of course you want to play in high school, you want to play in college, you dream one day of playing in the big leagues, and to see your name on an all-star ballot is pretty special, and in itself is a dream come true. So I make sure to grab a few every year, whether I make it or not, just to keep it, because you look back on that one day, and that's pretty special.
We'll get to some other people. Yes, in the back.
Storm McCart, Times for Kids magazine. You've mentioned that these events will be family friendly. What can kids look forward to most? Will they get to meet any players?
Well, again, I've talked about the red
I'm going to
carpet.
speak into the microphone just a
I've talked about the red carpet before, and if you haven't been there, literally every All-Star player will come within 10 feet of you if you're standing on the sidewalk there. If you go to Major League Baseball All-Star Fan Fest over in the Javits Center, just depending on when you're there on a given day over the course of the 5 days, there are current players who are signing autographs. There's former players hosting clinics. There are Hall of Famers, again, hosting sessions. So the opportunity to be as close to a player as you're arguably going to get it really runs over the course of the 5 days.
Yes, sir, in the back.
Yeah, I want to ask you something to Edgardo in Spanish. Edgardo, ¿qué significa para ti ser embajador del Juego de Estrellas y el impacto que va a tener en ayuda caritativa este evento?
Can I speak Spanish now?
Sí.
Es un privilegio de ser embajador, el cual le doy las gracias a los Mets por eso, porque aquí en la comunidad latina, hay mucho latino en esta comunidad de Nueva York, y va a ser un impacto, sí, para que los jóvenes se puedan ver a sus estrellas preferidas, a su gente preferida, y tratar de sacarlos de las calles, pero tratar de hacerle las cosas más fáciles para ellos. Hacer cualquier cosa con los niños, especialmente aquí en Nueva York, los niños hispanos. Yo creo que este juego va a ser un evento bastante favorable para la comunidad hispana también.
Tu español es bueno. We'd be happy to take yes, miss.
Thanks. I just wanted to ask whether in the lineup of festivities there's anything that's particularly new this year or particularly New York-centric compared to other years.
There are some events that are particularly New York-centric that, in terms of announcing the final details, we can't because the ability to sign up and congregate is not final. But New York's an iconic place, has many iconic locales, and like we did in the prior New York All-Star Game, we'll take advantage of those iconic locales. And if you stay in touch with us through allstargame.com, you'll see the announcements in the coming weeks.
We'll take one more question. Anybody has one? Yes, sir. Go ahead.
For number 5, my question to you, every time I watch you at the game, why do you stick your tongue?
All right. The question was, why do I stick my tongue out during the games? I think it's just concentrating. I used to get yelled at by my teachers when I was taking tests in school, in elementary school, because when I concentrate, for some reason, my tongue just comes out. And that's about all I got. I hope that answers the question.
As Howie Rose would say, puts this one in the book. Thank you very much.
And now, in honor of this special occasion, Major League Baseball and the New York Mets would like to present Mayor Bloomberg with a special jersey.
Who's got the special
right down there.
Okay. Come on, David, get in here. Get on the other side.
Turn it around so we can see the name.